A very talented actor and director who is currently between jobs. Usually you say currently he's directing or he's acting in, but he currently, as they say, is at, I guess, at liberty in our business.
He'd come out to plug that.
That's right. Charles wants to come out and tell you where he's not working. Anyway, we hope 1985 will be a super year. Would you welcome Charles Nelson Reilly? I mentioned you had nothing to plug tonight. Does it feel strange to come on a show like this and have nothing currently to say you're...
I usually don't have that much anyway going for me.
Well, you were
no,
directing...
I like the sketch. You see, you could have fooled me. I sat there with everybody and we all laughed. It's hard to work without your real hair. You know what I mean? And I thought you did wonderfully.
We thought costuming would help the sketch.
Yes, now am I in the right segment? I'm comedy, but more not that on-the-nose comedy, sort of like humorous reflections.
That's right.
And you know what I mean? So
pithy sayings.
The orchestra wants to play at any time, just go right ahead.
Yeah. If it doesn't go well,
Happy
we can stop
New
it.
Year.
I'm
sorry
to you.
interrupted
Did you have a
Happy
nice
New Year?
What'd you do New Year's Eve?
New Year's Eve, I thought it stopped that last year. No, I have a friend that owns a good restaurant, and so I always get a friend that owns a good restaurant, and so I went and he had a wonderful orchestra, and we went dancing. I danced with 3 women, which is rare for me.
Why did you? You mean all at the same time or what?
One, but I don't dance at all.
I see. Well, good.
You know what I mean?
Do they have? Can I jump in here?
Yes.
Sometimes I think maybe you're meditating.
Happy New Year. No. That would be another act at a different time. I do the meditation.
But you're doing your mantra or something.
No. What were you going to say?
I was going to ask you. I never know when you've come to the end
I know,
of the
but
sentence.
it's getting worse year after year, and you've... 23 years I've been honored to be in this chair.
I know that.
You know what I mean? And I feel the band might play at any minute, but I'll keep going.
You seem to be a cult of one. We'll be back in just a moment. Tommy, we're back. Peter Fonda will be out in a little while. Whitney Brown. And we are talking with Charles Nelson Reilly. I haven't seen you, well, since Christmas, of course. Did you get nice gifts?
I got
Did you get anything you wanted?
No, I didn't get anything I wanted. I got a strange group of gifts. Seeing I'm a director, I have a lot of friends, but I fight with a lot of friends when I work with them, so I get half as what I thought I would get, because that's what's difficult about being a director.
You mean if you break up
and then it has its good side, because you only have to give half of what you thought you'd give, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway, I
remember when you were a kid and you'd break up with your girl before Christmas or your...
And then you didn't have to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty cheap trick. Yeah.
So anyway, I got a vacuum cleaner. You know what I mean? A vacuum cleaner for my boat, because I always take the vacuum cleaner from home. So I got a vacuum cleaner, I got a stove.
What did you use before?
A vacuum cleaner from the house, and it looks silly to a rugged
You mean a
tall
stove
guy.
for the boat?
Yeah, just for the boat.
Oh.
And then I got a stove, and I got a cover for the stove, and a spice rack, and I felt like a bride. You know what I mean? I mean, what's wrong with a brown outfit?
No linens or anything like that?
Nothing like that. Yeah. And so it was kind of, but anyway.
Well, that's a nice Christmas. What's the worst Christmas? Well, I hate to get...
Well, no, I was very poor.
Well, you've said that before.
Yes, and we never had too much at Christmas, and it was sad because I was an only child, and I lived with my mother and father in this 2-room apartment. And you see, Christmas was when my mother said, Father's getting ready for Christmas, which meant that he would go in the garbage and find the old empty bottles of good whiskey, empties.
Yes.
You see what I mean? Then he would come home and he would fill them. You know what I mean? So that when the people came...
Fill them with what?
With 88 cents worth of the cheap stuff. You see what I'm saying? So we had all these big bottles on the bridge table and an inch in the bottom of the cheap stuff, so that we could feel like we belonged. But it didn't matter because nobody came anyway. And the thing was, then my father would start to go into the bottles, and I was like 4 or 5 years, I remember, and then he would decorate the tree, you see.
Yeah.
And every time he finished the tree, my mother at midnight would tear it down. Now, this is not I'm not trying to be funny.
Why at midnight?
I don't know. It's sort of like Christmas Eve, and it's on the nose, Cinderella, that kind of stuff. But the thing was, that's when the tree hit the floor. See, my mother always had this sense of emergency. See what I mean?
I believe that, yeah.
Even after I was born, there was this sense of emergency. But the thing is, then she came to visit in California years ago, and there was this big pink tree on the Playboy Club on Sunset Boulevard. And we're driving down Sunset Boulevard in a big wind, and right in front of the car, the tree fell right in front of the car.
An omen.
And I looked at my watch. Of course, it's a Christmas omen. I looked at my watch, and it was 9 o'clock. in California, but 12 o'clock in Hartford, where the famous 12 o'clock tree dismantling took place. So it wasn't that a wonderful Christmas. And then I moved in the Village. When I first went to New York, I had the fortune to move in this gangster territory area, which was, may I say, terrific for excitement. And that was like 10, 12 years of wonderful Italian friends that I had in the Village. So anyway, you'd come home toward Christmas.
Did you think they didn't hear you when you said Italian?
No, that was a stage whisper, darling.
I see.
But anyway, I would come home at 6 or 7 o'clock at night, and there'd be a man, like played by Abe Vigoda, leaning against the building. And he would say, canned hams. So you'd go up, I lived in 2B, and you would go up to Marie, who was in 3C.
Yes.
And she had on the floor of her apartment cases and cases of canned hams. Then you'd get 3 hams for like $1.
Right.
And the next night you'd come home and he'd be leaning against the building and he'd say, leather goods. A better day. So you'd go up to Marie. You'd go up to Marie and you'd get a couple of wallets for 50 cents because the stuff had to get out by the next shipment.
Of course.
Then if you came and there was like a line halfway between the 2nd and 3rd floor waiting, you knew that it was appliances that day. You see, so you'd get your, get some stuff good. But that was a wonderful Christmas feeling, because friends wouldn't go shopping. They'd just come down with me, and then it'd either be a ham or a bologna, or you might get an Italian sweater.
You never know.
You never knew about it, but it was
a good
fun.
day. Yeah.
Then one of the Christmases, is it still time?
Time for what?
I don't know.
No, you can go right ahead.
One of the Christmases I remember was when my first Christmas I was on the stage.
How old were you?
14.
Right.
What happened was, I was 16. No, I was 14. But I hate people that write biographies that said when I was 7 years old, I wore the red sweater. How can they remember? I was 14, but I was tall, but I was working as an usher because I lied. I said I was 16.
Well, that would make you actually 14.
So I was in the second balcony ushering because they didn't want to put me right on the main floor. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I wasn't that strange either. I don't understand, but I was in the second floor ushering, and it was the Black Hills Passion Play.
Very famous.
It was very famous. A man played Christ for decades named Joseph Mayer. And they were coming through Hartford to do their Passion Play, and it was Christmas, and I was ushering in the balcony, and it was a terrible storm, and the company manager came flying back to the head usher and said, 2 of the men in the company are ill. Is there anyone who is a young actor that works here or anyone wants to be an actor? Is there anyone that has any flair? You know what I mean? Well, I was up in the balcony ushering, so I mean, I had flair.
That's flairable enough.
You know what I mean? I couldn't do sports because I couldn't see the ball, but I could get the patrons in the seats. So anyway, they took me backstage because you know why they have to have 12 men in the Passion Play?
Disciples?
Very good. But not only that, they do one of the big scenes which would have torn anyone's heart out, the other ushers said, was the Last Supper.
Yes.
You see, you got to have them, and I was the one on the end. So anyway, I came with my suit backstage. I took off my glasses, put on a wig. I had my own hair. It was beautiful. They put a wig on. And then they put a donkey in my hand with a cord and sandals and a toga. And I couldn't see anything. So they said, just wait until the crucifixion scene, and then you'll go on. So, okay, fine. Now, the other usher that was chosen was my friend Schwartzy, because he was tall, and he had a flair, too. A lot of the ushers had flair.
Yes, I'm beginning to pick up on that.
Yeah. So anyway, So anyway, I was standing like this, couldn't see, and I had a palm leaf in this hand, a palm leaf in this hand, and the donkey cord with the donkey who smelled worse than the sandals, and the toga, and I was 14, lying that I was 16, going to make my entrance.
Right.
And the woman said, just go out with the others, and when they yell, crucify him, just yell, crucify him. So I went, crucify him, crucify him. And then he was on the cross, this wonderful actor, and the effects, the lightning and the thunder. I was petrified. It was so real, because I couldn't see, so it made it look better. You know what I mean? If I could see. And I seen it, so everyone's screaming, crucify him, and I was screaming, Schwartzy! Schwartzy! So they said after I took my toga off, I put the glasses on.
Yeah.
I want to see the band.
Yeah.
So, After they took my toga off and the wig off and everything else off and the donkey away, they said to me, "You don't have to do it tonight."
Oh.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
But it wasn't that good a debut, but it was at least...
Sounds fascinating.
Those were how the Christmases went, Johnny. Gives you an idea. I just wanted a brown outfit one day with a rep silk tie, but maybe tomorrow.
Well, I suppose so. Well, you were directing...
I liked the sketch. You see, you could have fooled me. I sat there with everybody, and we all laughed. It's hard to work without your real hair. You know what I mean? And I thought you did wonderfully.
We thought costuming would help the sketch.
Yes, now, am I in the right segment? I'm comedy, but more not that on-the-nose comedy, sort of like humorous reflections.
That's right.
And you know what I mean? So
pithy sayings.
The orchestra wants...
A very talented actor and director who is currently between jobs. Usually you say currently he's directing or he's acting in, but he currently, as they say, is at, I guess, at liberty in our business.
He'd come out to plug that.
That's right. Charles wants to come out and tell you where he's not working. Anyway, we hope 1985 will be a super year. Would you welcome Charles?
To play at any time, just go right ahead.
Yeah. If it doesn't go well,
Happy
we can stop
New
it.
Year. I'm
Same
sorry
to you.
interrupted
Did you have a
Happy New
nice
Year.
What'd you do New Year's Eve?
New Year's Eve, I thought it stopped that last. You know, I have a friend that owns a good restaurant, and so I always get a friend that owns a good restaurant, and so I went and he had a wonderful orchestra.
Charles Nelson Reilly. I mentioned you had nothing to plug tonight. Does it feel strange to come on a show like this and have nothing currently to say?
I usually don't have that much anyway going straight, and we went dancing. I danced with 3 women, which is rare for me.
Why did you? You mean all at the same time or what?
One, but I don't dance at all.
I see. Well, good.
You know what I mean?
Do they have? Can I jump in here?
Yes.
Sometimes I think maybe you're meditating.
Happy New Year. No. That would be another act at a different time. I do the meditation.
But you're doing your mantra.